Hi, I'm Andrea Vuletin. I'm a ceramic artist and I make pottery, mostly everyday items that you would use, that you would handle every day. I decorate most of my work with botanical inspired patterns. I really love the garden and I love the outdoors and hiking and camping. And most of this really comes from examining what we see every day outside. I enjoy the making process. I love the feel of the clay. This particular clay is a cone 6 smooth porcelaneous clay. It's MCS from Tucker's. It's just an off-white, so it's kind of a parchment color, which lends itself nicely to the Mishima style decoration on the surface. I always enjoyed illustrations, botanical illustrations, sort of the old Victorian ones that looked like close-up studies, and I really liked the Mishima technique in order to sort of emulate that etching quality. Most of my pots are thrown on the wheel. Occasionally I will hand build, or I'll do a combination of hand built and thrown. For instance, I love to make these canister sets. I usually make them in sets of 3, and I'll make them all together and then put them on a tray so that it fits the 3, and the decoration covers the entire pot. So if you look at it, it's sort of like a 360 degrees, I should say, decoration going around the entire pot. I really love the feel of the squared round canister as well. It's very plumped out, I would say, you know, kind of full feeling with the curved, slightly sort of gently curving contours, but they do fit nicely together because they're square. I really enjoy making things sort of carefully as well. The lids on these fit quite firmly, and they have a little flange inside that keeps the lid in place. I'm currently making some teapots. I love making teapots as well. And this one is entirely hand built and it's ready for decoration now. It is leather hard and just on the verge of getting dry. It's kind of powdery feeling, so this is a perfect time to start decorating. Okay, so I finished drawing on the teapot, and you can see the pattern sort of wraps around the teapot. But I wanted to make sure you saw that I try to get the pattern to go up on to the spout, usually with some insects and just a little bit of the flowers coming up onto the spout, as well as onto the handle. So here I have, well, it's hard to see, on the inside of the handle, just some ants that are walking on the handle, and just one up on the top there. And also just one on the foot. That's the only foot that has something on it. But I want to make sure that every part of the piece has some form of decoration, so it's really kind of all tied in. So as you can see, it's kind of getting quite dry, kind of powdery, and this is the point at which I'll wax it and then do the scratching. But I also wanted you to see that there's the lid, that this is just a little signature thing that I do with all my teapots. Each teapot lid has a nose. And it doesn't matter if it's a thrown teapot or a hand-built teapot. I like them all to have a nose. It's a little added bonus that the person gets to see when they get home. Some of my other work that you might be interested in seeing, still the Mishima technique, just a little closer up. View, So a slightly different pattern. The other work, and this is what you might see in shops, and it shows employ the circles. So you'll see the circles here. I'm just going to do a quick demonstration too so you can see that. I like using the circles because to me they represent like a magnifying glass, sort of examining things close up, but they also are a great device for dividing the surface to help with composition and focal point. I'm not the best photographer, but I do like to use photographs as reference for my work, and I love the cameras on the iPhones now, so I've made it a practice to go out every morning at 9. I have a little alarm on my phone and take photos of the garden with my iPhone, and this has been great because it really, you know, it gives you like an appointment to go and examine what's outside. And it doesn't matter what the weather is, you just go out and look at leaf forms, or look at how the buds are coming up from the ground, find some bugs or birds. It just makes you stop and examine things, even though they're just little things that you pass every day. But I also do crazy things like collect bugs. This is my recent collection at the cottage. We were there a couple of weeks ago, and I just found this dragonfly just sitting on the dock. It had expired, and it's really great for sort of close-up study. You can see the stripes, and you can see really what the eyes and the face look like. I maintain a sketchbook, or usually several. This is my nice sort of small size for when I'm traveling around. And then what I like to do is use a tracing paper. From your drawings you can trace the bugs or the flowers, and then you can use them like a carbon paper on the pot when you're drawing out your pattern. There's stacks of these little sheets of paper, and my favorites have been, they're very dark now because they've been well used. Anyhow, I'm going to go on and just show you a little quick demo. So I like to use just regular pencils. A softer pencil is better. If you've got like a B or 2B, I've got my selection of circles. So there's all kinds of circles, mostly lids of things, that I use when I'm laying out the pattern. First of all, you have to think, okay, what am I putting on this particular piece? And then you get your circles ready and just lay them on the piece. So you can see how that works. It just sort of gives you focal points. At this stage, you can just use a very soft sponge. If you don't like something you've drawn out, you can just erase it. I like these very soft sponges, and you know, it would just erase what you had, the pencil lines. And then you would proceed, once you have your whole surface sort of mapped out with circles, then I would proceed to draw in the botanicals. So these are my tumblers, and you can see the circles, and then you can see the flowers, botanicals drawn on top. These are very stylized. Things that are a little less stylized. So this is milkweed on this one, in bloom, with the caterpillar on there. So once they're drawn in, I keep them wrapped at this stage so that they don't get really dried out. You can see they're getting white already on the edges. That's fine. What I need to do at next is put a very thin layer of wax on. So this one has been waxed. And you want a very thin coat of wax that I'll scratch through. So the scratching process is kind of a little bit dusty. So I like to have something to catch the particles in. I'm just using a big lid from an old Tupperware. And that is my catching area. And I like to stack up some sponges so I can rest the back of my hand on the sponges. And I just proceed to scratch the pattern. And the truth is, the drier this cup is, the better. The scratch marks there, and you can see that it kind of brings up a burr. So thus I have this, and I would just take a brush like this. It's a soft, it's boar bristle, so it's stiff but still soft, and just gently wipe the burrs off. This will also make it so I don't really have to sand afterwards because the burrs are already brushed away, but you don't want to cause too much dust in the air. So here's a piece that has had all the lines filled, and it is ready to go into the bisque kiln. It is completely dry now, and once it's fired, all of the wax residue will disappear, and also the pencil lines, so all that will remain is the black line. This piece has already been bisque fired, and all that's left is the black line. So on the bisque piece, I will color in, paint in the flowers and the birds and leaves and so on with underglaze, put a clear glaze on top, and then fire it once more up to cone 6. And at that point, this looks quite white, but the finished color of this clay is that sort of creamy color, and this is the finished look. Anyway, that is it for a little peek into my studio. I've decided to show you decorating because that's where I spend most of my time, and I hope you've enjoyed it and you have a little peek into what I make. Thank you.